These are the 3 robots that sit on my desk at work. Their names are Minchel, Harrod, and Gus. Since it's almost Christmas, I dressed Minchel and Harrod in their festive costumes. Gus, however, has nothing. Look at him. Cold, exposed, judged by his peers. I really want to make something for him, but I just don't know what. To make a chocolate Ortomi, you need 150 grams of dark chocolate. We're going to melt it just enough so that about a third survives the ordeal. This is important for tempering the chocolate so it stays solid at room temperature, which, in theory, is desirable. I'm microwaving it in 10-second bursts because I don't trust myself with longer intervals. Once it reaches this point, we can stir it and hope the remaining chunks give up. To keep it warm while we work, I'm using my 3D printer's heated bed. Yes, I know. Filling the molds is tedious and messy. So messy. Once they're coated, into the fridge they go. My 3D printer is keeping the chocolate at a perfect working temperature of 32 degrees Celsius, which is honestly the most useful thing it's done all week. Now that the chocolate has cooled, we'll add a second layer. And now, the fun part. Removing the chocolate from this 3D printed, non-bendable, absolutely not food safe mold. Of course I knew that wouldn't work. I was just testing you. Yes. Using core molds wrapped in cling film works much better. The cling film also gives me a convenient handle because apparently I need those now. The chocolate went on a bit thick, so I'll thin it out with a spatula and pretend that was part of the plan. And this is what happens if you don't secure the cling film. At this point, I decided 2 hands weren't enough, so I grew an extra arm. It even found more molds to dip. Very proactive. Wow, that actually looks promising. Into the fridge. Now we can pop the mold out and peel the cling film off to reveal a perfectly formed faceplate for Gus. As perfect as it looked, I sacrificed it in the name of science by bending it. It snapped instantly. Science is pain. Things were about to get messy, so I switched back to my second set of hands. I like to keep my good pair clean. Just let me hold that. Okay. I eventually found a pair of gloves in the meeting room, on the 3rd shelf behind the whiteboard eraser, so I could finally switch back to my good hands. Now we can gently remove the chocolate from the mold. It looks like the cling film has been welded on, so I'll pretend that's intentional. The pieces without cling film look the nicest, but they're glued in place by sheer spite, so we'll have to cut them out. Sharp objects near my good hands? No thanks. spare hands it is. It didn't help, and, as a bonus, the chocolate wasn't tempered properly, so it began melting like it had somewhere else to be. I had to work fast and pretend that I knew what I was doing. Gus was still naked because I'd used his shell as a mould, so I placed him into his brand new chocolate home. He seems to be enjoying his cocoa castle. The cling film actually kept him clean inside. Finally, something going my way. I trimmed the edges and smoothed everything out. And that was it. I'd actually done it. He was a bit sticky and occasionally collapsed, but he was happy, and that's what matters. Gus was now one of the boys, sweeter than ever.